picture this scenario. You're facing her, no physical contact, no excessive effort, just conversation. Within the subtle flow of the exchange, a feeling emerges within her, something she can't easily name. Most men never grasp why a woman is drawn to a specific voice over a face or powerful words over appearance. This is because attraction isn't rooted in physical beauty. It begins with the sense of being truly comprehended. The right praise, delivered correctly, doesn't just flatter her ego, it deeply affects her core emotions. Welcome to Psychology of Desire. If this is your first time here, be sure to hit the subscribe button, as the insights you are about to receive are not simple, surface-level dating tips. This is about emotional maneuvering, deep psychological connection, and the refined skill of making a woman experience a feeling she cannot dismiss. Here is a universal truth. Every woman has heard a million hollow praises. You look lovely, great smile, wow, stunning appearance. This is just background static, mere noise. It vanishes the instant it's spoken. However, there are compliments, the uncommon variety, that refuse to disappear. They remain with her. They run through her mind hours later. They cause her to listen to your voice again when she is by herself, when no one is observing her actions. And that is exactly where true attraction is sparked, not immediately, but in the residual memory. Because genuine compliments have nothing to do with describing her physical traits. They grant her the sensation of being acknowledged. Women are not captivated by mere adoration. Women are captivated by genuine acknowledgement. When a man detects an attribute no one else observes, he constructs a pathway straight into her feelings. And once you step through that specific entryway, she can no longer perceive you in the same manner. But before you utter even a single word, you must understand this fundamental point. Women possess an expert-level emotional radar. They can sense underlying motive. If your praise is intended to impress her, she will detect it in your speaking pattern. If you compliment simply to secure approval, she will pick up on that in your overall demeanor. But if you compliment because you genuinely observed something distinctive, something truthful, something nearly concealed, that is the moment her defenses drop. Not by choice, but because her logical mind loses its capacity to defend itself against pure sincerity. So picture her speaking, narrating an event from her past, a personal ambition, or something that matters deeply to her. Most men are fixated on her mouth or her hair, but you are attentive. You notice how her tone softens when she conveys true concern, the way her gaze brightens when she recalls a fond memory, the particular way she chuckles, not due to humor, but because she is attempting to mask the significance of the subject. And when you decide to speak, you do not compliment her physical form. You compliment her inner essence. Because here is the hidden truth. A woman does not become attached to the man who simply tells her she is beautiful. She connects with the man who erases every instance of her past self-doubt. And the initial compliment that achieves this is the one that reveals an aspect of herself she never imagined you would detect. Not good looks, not clothing style, not surface appearance, but rather presence, depth of character, her core spirit. Women are surrounded by men who only notice the superficial layer. The man who truly sees what lies beneath is the one she is unable to stop thinking about. Therefore, before we proceed to the first piece of praise, remember this key point. You are not attempting to win her approval. You are providing her with a unique emotional memory. You are giving her a feeling that she was not anticipating. And once a woman experiences something profoundly strong in your company, she will pursue the origin of that feeling, even if she is not consciously aware of her actions. The first compliment that causes a woman to feel attracted, sometimes without her even realizing it, is the one that impacts her sense of self. Not her appearance, but her true nature. This is because every woman maintains two distinct self-images, the one the outside world views and the one she keeps concealed. When a man perceives the concealed version, she feels exposed, but in the most captivating manner possible. So visualize this specific instant. She is laughing, speaking, perhaps sharing a tale she considers unimportant. And while the majority of men simply process the words, you grasp the underlying significance. You tell her, "Do you know what I observed?" You possess a caring nature. Even when you do not articulate it, you experience emotions intensely. She will not expect this observation, not from you, not from anyone, because that specific praise is not focused on her physical traits. It speaks directly to her emotional makeup. It conveys that you recognize the tenderness she attempts to shield, the resilience she hides behind a cheerful expression, the sensitivity she doesn't always acknowledge. Most men offer praise for what is clearly visible. You offer praise for what is unseen. And the surprising element is that she will mentally replay that exact phrase later on. She will be resting in her bed and hear your words again. Because at a deep, fundamental level, every woman desires to be understood more than she desires to be praised. That is the fundamental psychological principle at work. Human draw is powered by emotional confirmation. When someone recognizes the segment of ourselves we believe no one else sees, they gain admittance to our confidence. And once that confidence is established, the attraction follows naturally, like a resulting effect. And this is where the darker element of psychology enters the picture. She won't merely feel positive about your statement. She will begin to pay attention to the unique way you perceive her. She will contrast your attentiveness with the inattention of others. Her brain will start posing inquiries she cannot ignore. Why does this man notice these specific things about me? How did he catch what all other people overlooked? Why do I sense security with him, yet feel a small amount of apprehension simultaneously? Because there is strength in being recognized, but there is also a level of risk involved. When a woman feels truly comprehended, she becomes susceptible. And this susceptibility is the access point to attachment. But the second piece of praise is even more potent because it constructs something more profound than simple emotion. It generates admiration. You tell her, "I appreciate your manner of reasoning." Not "you're correct," not "you're intelligent," but specifically her method of thought. That statement is highly magnetic. It communicates that her intellect is appealing. Her viewpoint holds importance. Her concepts possess inherent worth. And the moment a woman feels intellectually desired, she establishes a connection that physical appeal cannot surpass. She will start formulating her thoughts differently when around you, speaking more openly, sharing more because you made her feel impactful, not because of her appearance, but because of how she interprets the world. And here is the psychological reversal. When a woman feels respected for her mental capacity, she decreases her level of caution. Women are accustomed to being desired for their physical attractiveness. They are not accustomed to being desired for their inner mental landscape. When a man selects her for something uncommon, not something every single man seeks, her emotions become strongly involved. You are no longer just a man. You become the man who understands her entirely. But the third piece of praise, that one is not centered on her mind or her feelings. That one penetrates deeper. That one reaches a part of her that she herself rarely discusses. And that is the point where the genuine connection, the powerful, lasting kind, truly commences. The third compliment is the most formidable, the most intimate, and the one she will absolutely never forget, even if she attempts to. Because this compliment does not describe her thoughts or her emotions. It describes the influence she carries. And influence is the birthplace of affection. You observe her not with dramatic flair, not as a rehearsed poetic gesture, but during a calm, truthful moment, and you state, "Isn't this fascinating?" You alter the atmosphere of a space without even intending to. It's not "you're attractive," it's not "you're charming," it's more profound. You are not discussing her physical appearance, you are discussing the consequence she has on the surroundings. Most individuals navigate life feeling unnoticed, interchangeable, replaceable. Even attractive women experience this more than you might realize. But when you convey to a woman that she possesses presence, something internal shifts because presence cannot be fabricated. Presence signifies that she holds value. Presence means other people sense her, even before they fully comprehend her. And suddenly, she is not focusing on how she looks. She is concentrating on the person she transforms into when she is near you. That's pure psychology. When you praise a woman's influence, her mind links that effect to your sound, your proximity, your point of view. And the instant your words become connected to her self-assurance, she ceases seeking validation from the entire world and begins desiring it from you alone. But here is the point where the dark psychology becomes intriguing. Women do not become attached because of compliments. They become attached to the man who delivers them. If your praise feels distinctive, thoughtful, and emotionally accurate, she begins to perceive you as distinctive, thoughtful, and emotionally accurate. And that fundamentally alters the dynamic. She will start observing the way you view the world, the way you articulate yourself, the manner in which you listen. She will begin to see you through an alternative perspective, not as a man attempting to impress her, but as a man who understands her entirely. Because a woman's greatest desire is not to be admired, it is to be understood. A physically appealing woman receives praise daily, but a woman who feels acknowledged will never forget the man who saw her. And here is the factor most men fail to grasp. Genuine attraction does not commence when she smiles in reaction to your praise. It commences when she contemplates it afterward, while she is driving back, while she is lying down at night, when she is involuntarily replaying your speech. The mind becomes fixated on what it cannot rationalize. When she cannot explain how you recognize something about her that no one else detects, she begins to desire the answer, and that answer is you. That is the conversion path from emotional bonding to attraction. That is how attraction evolves into yearning, and that is how yearning transforms into something more powerful, something she is unable to regulate, even if she wishes to. But there is one crucial element every man must comprehend. These forms of praise are only effective if you truly believe them. If you deliver them without feeling, they will fail. If you say them with the intention to manipulate, she will sense the deception. But if you deliver them with focus, careful attention, and sincerity, you will not simply impress her. You will influence her internal narrative. Because the most impactful compliment is the one that brings to light a side of her she was unaware was discernible. And once a woman recognizes that you possess the ability to perceive her, she will desire to perceive you as well. And if you truly reflect on it, the reason these pieces of praise succeed is not because they are clever or eloquent or perfectly phrased. It is because they communicate something to a woman she seldom hears in this environment. I see you, not the cosmetic application, not the facial expression, not the exterior, but the inherent reality beneath it. The majority of men pursue a woman's attention. A rare man earns her confidence, and the very rarest earns a permanent position in her thoughts. If you notice her inherent presence, her influence, her complexity, her resolve, her vulnerability, she will feel that recognition, and she will cherish the memory of it. Because women do not become attached to men who want their bodies. They become attached to men who access their feelings. Praises that reach her intellect modify her thought process. Praises that reach her heart modify her emotional state, but praises that reach her innermost being modify the way she perceives you eternally. If this video assisted you in comprehending the concept of attraction at a more profound level, then do not merely observe and depart. Subscribe to Psychology of Desire because here you do not acquire simple tactics. You acquire the emotional science behind human connection. And the subsequent video could be the one that revolutionizes everything for you. So remain curious, maintain patience, and always recall, the correct statements do not simply elicit a smile, the correct statements cause her to connect. Thank you for viewing. Until our next session.